Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. A longtime Young and Restless viewer and friend of mine told me this week that the show feels like one big public service announcement. I couldn't see the lie. Most of the front burner stories right now feature mental health issues, and those that don't have characters talking in therapy speak as they analyze the actions of others. It's admirable to want to educate, but when the entirety of the soap's dialogue begins to feel like a lecture or characters reading from a brochure, the entertainment value depletes. Young and Restless has become sorely lacking in the escapism we're looking to find when we tune into a soap. With the exception of some big emotional confrontations, the show has devolved into a humdrum series of droning conversations that amount to very little in the way of payoffs. Here's a look at this week, and what's next. Sharon's storyline has begun its descent into darkness, or at least the character has. If it's not obvious by her snapping and death glares, all one has to do is look at the way she's rimming her eyes with reams of black eyeliner. The next best thing to putting her in a black leather jacket to denote the dark side. Speaking of death glares, if looks could kill, Daniel would already be 6 feet under. We're sure Sharon will turn on one member of the Romulati family, which will lead to trouble. The setup is as clear as day. What with Daniel picking up on the blonde's barely concealed rage, and Nick confiding in Phyllis about Sharon's issues. Many have become frustrated with Nick's shoulder shrugging over Sharon's clearly uncharacteristic behavior, which, if we're being nitpicky, appears to be more along the lines of psychosis than bipolar disorder. Fans, meanwhile, are either loving it or hating it. Soaps.com reader Tickety-Boo1 simply says, "Another story MFF through," while some are just happy that Sharon's front and center again. So what's going to happen next? The setup is clearly for Cameron, Sharon's dark side, to guide her down the path to vengeance against the people or person she sees in her current state as being responsible for her pain. The most likely candidate is Daniel, but she could try to hurt him by going after Lucy. Will she actually kill one of them? Highly unlikely, but an attempted murder could be in the cards. The fallout from the Chatham cheating scandal is playing like a game of roulette. Who will end up with whom? Who will forgive whom? Will Billy and Sally hook up? Will Chelsea and Adam gravitate back toward each other if their partners are unable to get past what they've done? It's difficult to imagine Sally being able to stay with Adam, given the horrid gaslighting and lying, not to mention the admission that love was involved in his one-night stand with his ex-wife. Egad, as for Billy, he may try give it another go with Chelsea. But as Mark Grossman teased, there is a potential twist that could change everything. Urged by Devin to fight back against Billy firing her, Lily is considering her options, and it looks as though after having afternoon tea with Nikki, she'll make a big move. The biggest, if we're being honest, because getting into bed with Victor, even figuratively speaking, always translates to huge consequences. While it might seem slick for Lily to team with the mustache to oust Billy in hopes of becoming a co-CEO to Nikki, there's someone who is not about to sit back and let that happen. Yet we mean Jill. Did you really think a heart condition was going to keep her down permanently? So now you see how Lily's big move could backfire. I realize that Kyle and Claire haven't even embarked on a romance yet, but the foundation is clearly being laid for a love triangle in the coming months. With Summer softening her stance toward both Claire and Kyle, it's only a matter of time before she begins to realize she still loves her ex-husband. I'd expect that lightning bolt to hit her right about the time he starts dating her cousin. What about Chance? I think he's going to be distracted since we know. Spoiler steps up to help Billy fight Victor. The opinions expressed are my own. Please join the conversation in the comments. In the heart of the bustling city of New York, where skyscrapers cast long shadows and the streets never seem to sleep, a small cafe called Cafe Mirage stood as an oasis of calm amidst the chaos. It was a place where secrets were as common as the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Among its patrons were Sharon, Daniel, and Lucy, 3 individuals whose lives had intertwined in ways that neither they nor anyone else could have anticipated. Sharon, a seemingly demure woman in her early 30s, was known for her gentle demeanor and sharp intelligence. She was a high-ranking executive at a prestigious firm, admired for her strategic acumen and quiet strength. However, beneath her composed exterior lay a storm of emotions, and a mind honed by years of cutthroat corporate warfare. Her career success had come with sacrifices, and her personal life bore the marks of relentless ambition. Daniel, in contrast, was a free-spirited artist with a penchant for spontaneity and an infectious zest for life. His paintings, vibrant and full of emotion, were celebrated in galleries across the city. Daniel had a magnetic charm that drew people to him, but his carefree attitude often masked a deep-seated insecurity about his place in the world. He had met Sharon at a charity event where he had been commissioned to paint a mural, and their relationship, though initially professional, had evolved into a complex web of personal connections. Lucy, Daniel's closest friend and confidant, was a journalist with a passion for uncovering the truth. Her sharp wit and relentless pursuit of stories had earned her a reputation for being both brilliant and tenacious. Lucy's relationship with Daniel was marked by a deep platonic bond, one that had weathered many of life's storms. She had always been supportive of his art and had become familiar with Sharon through their shared circles. The tension between Sharon, Daniel, and Lucy had been brewing for months. It began subtly, with minor disagreements and misunderstandings that seemed inconsequential at first. However, as time passed, these small frictions began to build into something more sinister. One evening, the three of them found themselves at Cafe Mirage, the cafe's dim lighting casting long shadows on their faces. Sharon, nursing the cup of herbal tea, was visibly agitated. Her conversation with Daniel had taken a turn for the worse, and Lucy, sensing the growing unease, tried to mediate. "Sharon, I understand that you're frustrated," Lucy said calmly, "but let's not make this about us versus you. We're all here because we care about each other." Sharon's eyes, usually warm and inviting, had a cold edge to them. "It's not about caring, Lucy. It's about trust and betrayal." Daniel looked between them, his brow furrowed. "What are you talking about, Sharon?" Sharon's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "I know about the article you're writing, Lucy. The one that could ruin my career." Lucy stiffened. "What article? I haven't written anything that involves you." "You don't need to," Sharon said, her voice steady but her eyes betraying a storm of emotions. "Daniel has already told me everything." The accusation hung in the air, heavy and accusatory. Daniel looked shocked, his eyes darting between Sharon and Lucy. "I haven't told her anything, Lucy. I swear." Lucy's expression hardened. "Sharon, I would never." "Save it," Sharon interrupted, her face a mask of cold determination. "I don't know if you're trying to set me up or if this is some sort of twisted game, but it ends now." The cafe's quiet ambience was shattered by the tension that filled the room. As Sharon stood up abruptly, her chair scraping loudly against the floor, Daniel and Lucy exchanged worried glances. Sharon's behavior had crossed a line, and the atmosphere was charged with a palpable sense of foreboding. Over the following days, the situation escalated. Sharon's demeanor became increasingly erratic, her interactions with both Daniel and Lucy growing more hostile. Daniel, distressed by the turn of events, sought solace in his art, but even his canvases seemed to reflect his turmoil. Lucy, on the other hand, took a step back, trying to piece together the puzzle of Sharon's sudden animosity. It wasn't long before Lucy uncovered something alarming. While researching for a story unrelated to Sharon, she stumbled upon a series of emails between Sharon and an anonymous source. The content of these emails suggested a preoccupation with Daniel and Lucy's personal lives, with a disturbing focus on their vulnerabilities. Lucy's heart raced as she read through the emails. It became clear that Sharon's frustrations were not just professional but deeply personal. Her fear was no longer just about professional sabotage, but about potential harm. In a dramatic confrontation at Cafe Mirage, Lucy confronted Sharon with the evidence she had found. "Sharon, I have proof that you've been spying on us. What's going on?" Sharon's reaction was one of cold fury. "You think you know everything, don't you? You have no idea what it's like to be me, to be constantly undermined and threatened." Lucy's voice was steady despite the danger she felt. "This isn't about your career or your personal struggles. It's about what you're willing to do to others to protect yourself." Sharon's expression hardened. "You don't understand the pressure I'm under. I'm at the end of my rope, and I don't know who I can trust anymore." As the confrontation reached its peak, Sharon's resolve seemed to waver. Her fear and desperation were palpable, but so was her resolve. It was clear that Sharon felt cornered and was willing to do anything to protect her own interests. In the end, it was not a question of whether Sharon would try to kill Daniel or Lucy, but rather how far she was willing to go to preserve her own position. The true danger lay in her state of mind, her sense of betrayal, and her willingness to take drastic measures. As the three of them faced off, it was evident that the resolution to their conflict would come not from physical confrontation, but from unraveling the deeper issues that had driven Sharon to such extremes. Café Mirage remained a silent witness to their struggle, its quiet ambience a stark contrast to the storm that had unfolded within its walls. As the trio grappled with their strained relationships and the darkness that had crept into their lives, they faced a pivotal moment where understanding and reconciliation would determine their paths forward. Ultimately, the resolution would depend on whether they could address the underlying fears and insecurities that had led to the brink of disaster. For Sharon, Daniel, and Lucy, the challenge lay in finding a way to heal the rifts and rebuild the trust that had been so precariously shattered.